Hello.
Hello.
You look lovely.
I was going to say the same. I love your hair. It's like the one day
yeah,
of glam, right? When you get to finally dress up, it's like, woo, got makeup on.
Yeah, I had to go put a little top on, sort my hair out.
Don't worry, I won't make you stand up.
Yeah, no, don't make me stand up. I actually have jeans on though today, so that's not too bad. But Nadu, thank you so much for joining us. How are you
Thanks for
doing
having
today?
me. I'm good today. Thursdays are
Yeah.
always good days. Thursdays I bake with my best friend. So the Indulgent Sugar Plum, she holds a nice baking class. So I've just got my pastry setting in the fridge, and I'll continue
Ooh,
after this.
that sounds fun. It sounds like a sort of day I need to have. But for anyone who wants to know what it is you do, can you sum up in a few words what it is you do career wise?
I guess I did. Past tense. Still do. Event experiences. So we effectively produce events globally across the world. We have a focus more now on the continent. So we do a lot of work in West Africa, Southern Africa. But yeah, event management, event production, event consulting, and event training.
Yeah, that is honestly, it's a very big arena you're kind of working across, both geographically, I guess, and in terms of the sort of events you're doing as well. But how have you been managing? Obviously, we can't avoid like COVID-19 and all of that anywhere. So let's kind of get straight into that. Like, how are you kind of managing through the coronavirus lockdown at the moment?
So it's okay at the moment. Stuck in South Africa, but it's lovely and
I
sunny.
was going to say there could be worse places to be
There
stuck.
could be worse places, and they've got a much less case rate than anywhere else in the world on the continent. So it's not bad being here, but it's nice. Like everyone else, like life stopped. Like in terms of work and career, it's just completely stopped. And I've been speaking to the team and people around, and events, which I'm sure most people can respect, is one of the things which is going to take a longer time for people to come together because social distancing is a thing now.
Yeah. And
So
I know
yeah.
when we spoke yesterday, I found you said something and it kind of stuck with me actually. You kind of mentioned that you went through like a grief process with this whole coronavirus in terms of work wise, and that really resonated with me. So do you want to kind of explain what you meant by that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I've been here for about 4 weeks now. And I think for me, when I said like a grieving process, it's like the shock of, okay, you have no work, you have to still pay bills, but you don't have the income coming in. Everything, all your plans, all your goals, like I was booked up till like physically with flights around the world up till August. So, and then from September, we start our international work on the continent. So it was just kind of allowing myself to go through the process of, do you know what? I don't want to do anything today. I don't want to speak to anyone. I don't want to look at my emails. I don't want to do anything. And then slowly just getting back into a process of, okay, I'm going to do an email today, or
Yeah.
I'm going to try and speak to somebody today, because it affects everyone differently. It affects everyone's mental health some way, shape or form. I think even people that hadn't realized, or mental health was a big thing, but it affects everyone in a day to day. So yeah, just taking the time. Someone made a phone call to me and picked my spirits up, and I in turn did the same to my best friend. So I hope someone, even at the end of this, can just pick up the phone and speak to someone that maybe they haven't spoken to, and hope that it can kind of urge people to just feel a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like what you said about kind of taking time, getting back into the swing of things. Like so today, just sending an email. What are you able to still do in terms of work wise though?
So it's quite interesting because there are a lot of different views and perspectives of what's going to happen, and ultimately we don't know. So I'm just with the team who still work quite closely with, just trying to get things in place for when we do move. Really and truly not anticipating anything this year, but it's working towards it so that when it's ready and we have the opportunity to move forward, we can. So I've got 2 festivals that we're working on, so still putting the floor plans down, going through budgets, putting the processes together, making sure things can work. So if we're lucky enough to go back into some form of event life, that we can. also looking at different strategies to diversify the business. So like with the training stuff we do, bringing some of that stuff online so we can reach people globally and still continue to inspire people. Who knows?
I know that's the sort of thing. It's very much a thing of like, who does know? But I think what you said about changing strategy and moving stuff sort of, to digital spaces. So like, for example, we was meant to have this talk face to face a couple of weeks ago, but we're still able to do it virtually, which is kind of, I think it's making a lot of people I've seen in my field as well think outside the box as well. What's been some of the most, I guess, before we get on to some of the other questions, one of the most inventive ways you've seen people be creative so far in this lockdown period?
But do you know what? And it's funny because I think some of the things that people came up with were really on in my grieving process, because I was like, you people have time. Right now, I just want to lie here and do nothing. But people, like I was, a friend of mine added me to like a weekend forum, which was literally conferences, talks. So it's as if you went to an expo, like hour by hour from like midday till 1 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, that's phenomenal. Like people have, utilized tools that are out there, built platforms, connected with people to share information, and honestly, hands down to people. I mean, that's great. And it's not for everyone. I'm not that person.
Yeah. But that's mad. That's a really nice way to kind of sort of, I guess, bring those exhibitions or those expos to sort of digital spaces as well. What project, though, in terms of things you've worked on in the past, what have you enjoyed working on the most?
So many events, I don't know, every event's different. Like there's different things you can enjoy because they all have challenges. So like doing stuff internationally, especially in West Africa, so much more challenges we all, as a team, always face. But I think it's also when you feel gratitude and reward for what you work on. So Afrocella, a client of ours, we love working with them. Very happy to kind of move forward. And it's not to say that there weren't stresses and crazy things that happen on the day, but like collectively as a team, how everyone works together. Like my team fits very well with their team. And so it was really nice to kind of work on big festivals with them and grow and develop the brand. So yeah, that's one of my favorites.
What would you say is that one of the biggest lessons you've learned working on projects, I guess, in like West Africa compared to the rest of the world?
I guess it's just knowledge and experience. Like what I found is, people, they always say you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of the stuff I found when doing events and even training abroad is some people don't know why things have to be done a certain way. So it's more where I'm talking about processes and incorporating methods that people, can do events to make it, fast tracked, save money, save time. That's been, I think, one of the most challenging things is being able to impart that knowledge and explain to people. So, something that might normally take a week to do in, a sense of producing an event can take 2 weeks because you have to go through and explain the process to everyone. I don't mind doing that. A lot of people get very frustrated, but it's just one of the learnings you take when working in different territories.
I like the way that you said you don't actually mind doing that, and I think that's probably really important to have somebody on the team who's like, that's just part of the job. It's like what I need to do.
But it's funny because one of the events we did, like our head of event, Chantel, she was working and she was stressing and she was screaming at people like, "This is crazy! No one's listening." And she's like, "Next year, no, we can't work with them." And I'm like, wait. No, next year means we have to work with them, because like if you work with people that don't have an understanding of something and they make 20 mistakes, right, now you've explained to them the 20 mistakes and why they've done something wrong. The next time you work with them, it's going to be 10 or 15. But, if you keep changing suppliers and keep changing, the different vases to input that knowledge, you'll be there forever. So it's, trying to work with the same team again.
Every time we'll be kind of starting from scratch. It's like, now I've got to explain all these things again. So, I'm with you on that. Stick to them.
Chantel's laughing.
So do you think, though, that clients have like unrealistic expectations when it comes to putting on? Straight.
Honestly. No, because, do you know what? It's funny. My whole career, so I've been doing events for probably over 13 years now. So I've never had a full-time, that's a lie. I've had one full-time job in my life when I was 18, and I worked for NatWest, and I'm now 34. I've just worked for myself for the rest of the time. Had different businesses, changed names, still do the same service. But over the time that we've done things, you learn different things all the time, and like our clients continuously come back to us for the main premise that we're able to work within very short spaces of time to deliver very high quality events. So, you know, you've seen those memes on social media, like client budget, client expectations, like it's real. And so when
versus reality,
listen, goes out the window. So when we work, I always say, like, use like the method of a triangle. So if you think you've got quality, time and money, and most clients will move one of those things. So you take away money, for example, well, you still want to have a great looking event, but if you don't have the time, you know, it's really going to affect it. The same if you remove time. In order to maintain that quality, you got to have the money to do it. So I think what I think our clients have found with us is sometimes people don't think they need event managers. You know, they think, you know, they curated it and they can do this and do that. But when you get to the nitty gritty, like it's the small things that really make events work or not. So I think when you can pay attention to that detail and understand the process and go through things and impart it, people then get it. So 9 times out of 10, the first time we work with clients, especially when I first started doing events, it's like, okay, I'll take a pay cut and I'll do it for this. Oh, and now you realize why you need us? And then I've even had clients that said they didn't want us because we were too expensive. Oh, they went over, did it themselves, came back 3 weeks before the event. Oh, we'll put a 0 on that.
I love that. One thing I thought was really nice though is, nice, but when you said that you've not had a full-time job since, you know, you was at 18, and you've always sort of been freelance. And I guess when a lot of people are starting off in creative careers, whether it's in events, whether it's sort of any other sector, a lot of the time people are having to work for free. So how did you sort of transition from, you know, being like starting off from scratch, starting off on 0 pay, to sort of building up your client base and then charging for work that you may have done for free previously?
For me, I think one of the things we have to do is utilize like the time that things are happening, the place that things are happening, and why things are happening. Like I started doing a lot of the freelance free stuff when I was a lot younger. So I was 19, I think, when I really started getting into it was when I had my daughter. So from there, I was lucky enough because she was in nursery and it was a different time period that I could, utilize, working for free in different places. But it's a journey. Like I still give, like I did, when we do events, I consult for free for one company once a year. I give my time to 4 mentees I take on a year, and try and do as much free stuff back, because it's a cycle. You have to do some free to just get the experience in. And I offer opportunities for anyone who's come from our training courses to come and work with us just to see. Because some people think they know what events are. And then they get into it and they're like, oh, this isn't for me. Or they haven't thought about things. Yeah. But it's something that's taken years, telling people, like, even I remember when I initially quoted people, oh, you're too expensive. Oh, okay, well, there's always something. Yes, there will always be someone cheap and there will always be someone more expensive. So it's a long process. Oh my gosh. No, because now you're making me think about all the years. You just have to push through.
It has been, and I think especially because you've been doing it for so long, I think, for example, I know, like, with the situation at the moment with lockdown, I think I don't think this is the end. I think it will only just continue to evolve and grow. That, the work you've put in for the past I can't even do the maths. I was going to say 18 years, 13 years.
Oh yeah, 13. Yeah. Wow.
It's been you've been laying the groundwork. So yeah. How do you find though? Like, I guess doing events, you're very much, it's part of a teamwork, you're putting people together, and I'm guessing you have to delegate a lot. How have you sort of found a team of people that you can actually rely on?
Number one, I love my
Some of them
team.
might be watching right now. So
they are, I can see some of them. I love my team, and even like people that I've worked with in other teams, come and be with my team. Most people that have come from the course, so our head of events is actually my best friend of 30 years. That doesn't give you a green pass. You still have to do the course. So everyone who I work with now has done some kind of training course with us. And that's from like 8 years ago. Our head of project operations, she did a course with us, I think 7 years ago. And it's an opportunity for people to see how, and I say this, you know, how an employer works, how you work as an employee, if you fit within a team. Because it's all about energy. We had an office for probably a period of 6 months to a year. And then when we don't have an office, because there's so much international work and sometimes people are around, you have to be comfortable with working with people, that they're going to do tasks on time, that they're going to be able, oh, someone said Nadu's best, effing best. And yeah, I'm just grateful. So the team is, I'm going to say full women. We've just started working with a gentleman.
Okay.
But yeah, he's the first. But it's all women of color, and we get on amazingly. Like, I've had people that, you know, you don't, and that's fine. Sometimes it's like anything in life. You're not going to get on with everyone. You're not going to work well with everyone. I think when you do find a core team who, you know, works well together and can support you. Like, I wouldn't be able to do any of the events I do. I wouldn't have been able to do the scale that I do things without this team. And they know I would ride for them. So yeah, it's, you know, being able to get tangible experience through volunteering initially, to paid work, to then international travel. Who doesn't want to try that?
Yeah. I think so. What you said as well about having a team of women of color as well, that is really good to kind of hear and see. And I think that's just really important as well. So I really like that. What would you say has been like a mistake you've learned the most from? Because I think it's really good to talk about, you know, all the wins, but sometimes it's also good to talk about, you know, mistakes and things that you you know, you've learned.
So many. Honestly, the thing is, the whole point of the course is that I teach everyone my mistakes. Yeah. So you literally come on board, you learn 13 years of mistakes that I've made, so you don't have to make.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think no L's all year round, year round. I think the last one, which was the biggest, was the end of last year. We were actually called to do a show. I don't know if I should say the show or not. I mean, it's whatever. We got called to do a show in Ghana last year. I walked on site and was like, this is Firefest. But we had to, like, I invested my own money in terms of getting the team out there before getting paid from the client, because I had a relationship with that client, or I thought I had a relationship with that client. So it had a knock-on effect. And so I was like, do you know what? This is an L that I have to take because I shouldn't have done this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And see, like, articulate. Thank you, Ade. It's only an L if you don't learn. And I learned from it. And I said, I will never do that again. And some situation happened afterwards. I was like, no, I've been here before. Not going to happen again. And that's all you can do.
I think, honestly, whoever said it's only an L if you don't learn from it, I need to take that into mind. I mean, that can be applied into anything, events, whatever sort of work you're doing, that can be applied to it all. What would you say? We've got a few more questions, and if anyone does have any questions, put them in the comments or add it to the little question mark thing, which I still don't really know how to work, but we move.
Don't worry, I've never done a live before. This is new for me.
What would you say has been your USP?
In the nicest way, me. Like,
I love that.
No, but and I'll tell you why. In 2014, I was in business with a friend of mine that I'd known for 20 years. Hold on, let me just shut that. The AC's on. And she basically effed me over. And coming out of that, I was introduced to a very good friend of mine who's a lawyer. And he was like, can you continue to do this business, or do you need to go after her in terms of to sue her or whatever, or can you get the business for you? And I was like, you know what, you're right, it's me. all of the time that I've been working with people, people have been coming back to doing business with me because of me. And that's not to say I'm better than anyone else. It means that the clients and the people that the universe has put in line with my path, they resonate with me, and that's why they'll continue to come back and do the business. And I have to know that I am the USP, and that my team are an extension of my USP, and then as an effect, like the brand that grows in that respect. It's just that.
So many gems. I'm literally like, I need to take note. I need to take note.
Because you've got to remember, like, the amount of people that are probably watching stuff like this, I don't even know how many people, 28, great. But for people who may see it and think they want to get into it, they may think, oh, you know what, I need to be like that person. And you don't, you just need to be yourself. Like, people will tap into you and your energy and your knowledge and your experience. What I have of 34 years experience is not what someone else has of 22 years experience. Like, the time doesn't matter, it's the experience. And it's just about taking knowledge and understanding and, you know, being able to, articulate through me with that question that's underneath it.
Oh yeah, no, I was trying to read it to remember it as well. Okay, I'm gonna get that question answered just after my last one, and that would be, what kind of keeps you sane outside of work? Because I think when you're working for yourself, like you said, when you are your USP, when your career is your life, what do you do to kind of keep sane outside of work? Because otherwise, work does become all-consuming, and it takes up every single thing of your life.
Basically, honestly, I don't even know.
No.
Events is life.
Else you do that isn't work.
Do you know what? Because my work now consists of a lot of international travel, so I'm normally floating around every month or every 2 months or so. It means I get to experience and do things in other countries. So even though it's part of work, because work is like 7 days a week, you know, when I can go out, I can have days by the pool and I can chillax, and I can go out in a different scene and kind of meet new people in different cultures. I don't know. I think now I've started to spend a bit more time, like my daughter's in boarding school, so we have our own time aside from work when we go off and do things. But yeah, just work. It's bad. So you can imagine how this has now affected me. Yeah, well, now I've got stuff to do. I'm a baker.
But, yeah. I love that. Okay, so shall we answer? Is this black? Okay, so this question is, how do you go about sponsorship or partnership? And I said, would you have a small gather like Insecure? So kind of, how do you go about sponsorships and partnerships?
So read the question for me again.
How do you go about sponsorship or partnerships?
I try to stay away from sponsorships. In terms of finding, we have someone who's dedicated in our team who looks at partnerships, or if we've met people along the journey and have built relationships with people, then we'll attempt to kind of go from them. I haven't been in a position where I needed to directly go out and find funding to deliver stuff. Other sponsorship is like in kind. Perhaps a lot of it's through networks, communities. I always feel that they say 6 degrees of separation. I say 1. Like, you can find someone. You can find someone. I found out I was 1 person away from Beyonce.
What?
You have a good network.
I believe it's 6, but I'm gonna try and apply the 1 degree to my life right now.
One. You know, we know each other now, so you're closer.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm 1 step from Beyonce now as well. 2.
2.
That is right. Okay, so lastly, what would be like the last bit of advice you'd give to your fellow like event professionals in this current climate?
Hang in there. I think one of the most worrying things is that it's so uncertain right now. And even I've been on a few calls and a few conversations talking about when people anticipate the industry to return back to normal. People are forecasting like 2022. That's really worrying to hear for someone who has a business in the industry. My thing is, if you can just mentally keep yourself sane, make sure you're prepared, support as many people as you can within, you know, the industry network, because there are a lot of people who are doing things. Obviously it's going to get to a point where it's just saturated online with live stories and the rest.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult one. It really is. I don't know how to tell myself to keep saying like this, because I keep on saying, oh, another 2 weeks. Oh, another 2 weeks. But you just don't know. So it's just finding things that you can do daily, weekly, to just stay sane. Like, I'm really enjoying the downtime, because it hasn't been very often in the last couple of years that I've had a week to myself, let alone what we are now going into month 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nadu, thank you so much. It's been really great to have a little chat with you. Do you have any last words to say?
I don't, but I was asked a question yesterday, and I said if I didn't know the answer, but I thought about the answer. So I think the question was, what could you be given at this time that could support you in terms of moving forward? And I was like, did it have to be a food, a mineral? But my thing is opportunity. And I think just to know that there's a potential opportunity that we can be doing events later down the line, or sooner rather than later, even if it's, you know, in a slightly different format, for example, on live. Just knowing that brands, bigger organizations can give us the opportunity. Yes, I'm going to do a podcast. Thank you, Blackticulate. Will make this journey a little bit easier for us all. And yes, I am going to finally finish the podcast, because we started a documentary, but got a podcast to just tell the crazy stories that we've done over the last 13 years in events, and just final thoughts that everyone can take away on what to do and what not to do at events.
Do it. I'm going to be waiting to hear the podcast.
Yeah, I'm trying to
there is no excuse right now.
Trying to go to the gym, trying to lose some weight out here. We'll get to it.
Nadu, thank you so much. Where can everyone keep up to date with your journey, the training courses, just everything? What's the socials?
So the Zoo XYZ, that is obviously everything that runs through the company. Everyone who's obviously following us now can see that it's N4DUP is mine. And yeah, we should be announcing a few things in the next couple of months when I get to it.
They will be. Thank you so much. And everyone as well, give Nexus a follow on this page if you're new here as well. And we'll be back for another talk soon.
Thank you.
It's good speaking to you.
Bye.
Okay, bye.